Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring Deviantbum in our top right corner, playing our teal Protoss. He is Masters level, I believe. Tyreal, however, is in the green league. No, he's green Protoss. He's bottom left corner, and he's an unknown league. He doesn't show up as anything on my website here. And so I'm going to believe that he's in Masters because that would make the game more enjoyable and exciting to believe that they are at the same league. However, this is off the GameFAQS tourney currently being hosted by Bone Carlos on GameFAQs.com, which means that the individuals teamed together are not necessarily of the same level of play. Bronze could be against Grandmaster and vice versa. So Tyreal could be in Bronze, he could be in Grandmasters. We have no idea. We're just going to have to watch his playstyle and judge him severely for every small mistake he makes and just assume that he's in the worst league possible or best league possible. I joke. I kid. And the worst thing about PvP is that the build order is going to be the exact same no matter what. Pylon placed right next to the Nexus or thereabouts up in the main, because you can't really forge fast expand against another Protoss. Best you can hope for is some sort of 2-gate harass or something like that, but those sorts of shenanigans have gone far to the wayside long ago. Really what we're going to see is a gateway followed by a gas, one or two, probably just one, followed by a cyber core, and then once the cyber core comes up we get warp gate tech, another gas, and whatever tech structure is the differentiator for the build. We could see 2 forges, we could see 3 gateways, we could see a robo, we could see a stargate. That's really when the build gets interesting, and unfortunately it happens at about the 4-minute mark, which sucks, but it allows me to have plenty of time to talk about the map. We are on Daybreak. It's an awesome map. It's got destructible debris leading down to the low ground, and it's got this Zelnaga watchtower looking at the 4th, and it's got this kind of backwards pathway leading up into the 3rd. It's fantastic. This is a great map. Everybody likes it and loves it. It probably needs a supply depot down here. It takes more than just three pylons to wall that off, though, which I think is the reason that we have those supply depots down there, is when it takes 3. If it takes more than 3, it's not really worth it. There's your gas. There's your Cybernetics core out of Deviantbum. We have 2 gas for Tyreal, so that's interesting. Even before the Cybernetics core finished, but both players going to have that 50 Vespene gas necessary to start on the Warp Gate tech. A good way to tell who's in what league is by Chrono Boost energy at about the 5-minute mark. Has it been spent wisely? Is it going to be spent on the Cybernetics core so that they can get the Warp Gate tech down? And there goes one warp on him, and then Tyreal, who is our unknown entity, is keeping his energy down to the very, very bottom, wisely chrono boosting out a stalker. I say wisely because we still have no, is that, whose is that? That's Tyreal's probe. Oh, but with Deviantbum is actually moving out with his stalker and zealot, maybe just to hunt down that probe, maybe to poke at Tyreal's front door. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Will that probe escape alive? I don't know. That stalker's awfully fast, and it's going to be catching up to that probe. I don't think it's going to get out alive. I can't watch. Can you? Oh no, the zealot's in the way. Wow, that's unfortunate, because that stalker would absolutely eat up that probe, but unfortunately the zealot, being so slow, is going to allow that probe to get away, and a brave stalker from Tyreal pushes out into the common ground, sees that his probe is in danger, and pushes in so that he can provide some assistance. Unfortunately, he's aggroed both of the units and decided to make his stand at the top of the ramp, and will unfortunately get focused down by the stalker after being chased by the zealot. Zealot taking quite a lot of damage. Will go to work on the pylon that's powering the gateway. A well-timed stalker arrives just in time to start focusing on the stalker. Really should focus on the zealot first, as it's going to work on the probes. Now that the probes are all dead, the zealot turns its eye towards the zealot, but both of the units from Deviantbum have gone down, leaving Tyreal with having gained nothing. Hasn't really lost anything either, I don't think. Yeah, a couple of the workers that went down are in the favor of Deviantbum. There's a bit of a harvester count difference there. So Deviantbum's up by 5, a significant amount of minerals. That's going to directly translate to gateway units. Later on in the game, it looks like a robotics facility is being bumped by Tyreal. On the back of that aggression, though, Deviantbum had gotten out the tech that he wanted. He's got a 3-gate into Robo, and no expansion just yet out of him. But with not having a bunch of units being produced, a bunch of proxy gates already down by Tyreal's base, I don't think Deviantbum's going to be trying for a 1 base shenanigans or anything like that, I think he's going to be taking an expansion very soon. And I think Tyreal is going to be well positioned to keep pace with him. That Observer must have been the first unit coming out of that robotics facility from Deviantbum. Comes in and knows all, sees what units are being produced, sees the robotics facility be chrono boosting out. It's a pretty safe assumption to make that that's going to be an Observer, so he probably wants to reposition that. Yeah, he's going to take it down to the mineral line, away from that first Observer that'll be popping out. Unbeknownst to him, it'll be an Immortal first, followed by an Observer. Oh, we do see a move out from Deviantbum. Wow, this is a well-sized army, and it looks like there is another Immortal coming down with it, so quite a lot of Stalkers and Sentries. Those Sentries have actually been out for quite a while. Look at that purple. They're going to have a lot of force fields to throw down. Tyreal with the Defender's advantage. He's got a couple of Sentries up, but all of this is going to be scouted by the... Where is that Observer from? Ah, here it is, from Deviantbum. So Deviantbum knows the unit composition that is expecting him. Tyreal's got quite a lot of Sentries to hold the force fields at the front, so Deviantbum's going to have to be very careful. He can't afford to let his units get split in half. Here comes a small push. Even if it is held by a force field at the front door, they can still fire up, because Deviantbum has that Observer to scout the high ground. But it looks like another Immortal is going to be coming out, so the unit composition is actually pretty much neck and neck. 1 or 2 Stalkers more for Deviantbum, plenty of Zealots for Tyreal. So it's going to be difficult if both of these guys were to engage directly, but I don't think that's likely. I think what's more likely is that Deviantbum's just going to keep Tyreal held in one base. Wow, some excellent force fields as Tyreal pushes forward to the gate, isolating one of the Immortals. Unfortunately, some force fields turnabout from Tyreal has isolated all of the Sentries from Deviantbum, and they completely go down. So yes, Tyreal lost an Immortal, and Deviantbum lost all of his Immortals, or all of his Sentries, so he can't continue his aggression because he doesn't have the ground control force fields. Look at that, resources lost neck and neck. I guess we know how many Sentries it takes to get an Immortal. And yeah, Deviantbum getting his Nexus down on the low ground, not doing an all-in sort of aggression, but he has to pull back. Tyreal has a more intimidating army with those force fields. He could cut up Deviantbum's force and engage those Immortals in an isolated fashion and take them down with combined fire, and that would be all she wrote, and Deviantbum would have to either sack his natural or just barely hold. So a good pullback there by Deviantbum, and he's bought enough time to get his natural up and partially saturated. At the same time, Tyreal is just now getting his Nexus down in his natural expansion. He's going to be falling behind on Harvester count as well as mineral income. Deviantbum is keeping an eye on that intimidating army from Tyreal, but I don't think Tyreal can afford to push out, what with the proxy pylon up in the north side of the 3rd, and you know, a good-sized army of Deviantbum's own. Wow, the Observer from both players is like directly on top of the other army. That is awfully ballsy, because if either player created a new Observer, that would be all she wrote. Looks like Deviantbum has his robotics facility out and is beginning to work on that extended thermal lances. The robotics facility is just now finishing for Tyreal, and he's probably going to go to work on it also. He definitely has enough gas and money. Yes, there it goes. Spinning that chrono boost on it too, and a second robotics facility. Wow, that is impressive. He's going to be able to afford that, but it's going to cost him some gateways. We can see the gateway count is actually 7 for Deviantbum right now, but he only has a single robotics facility, whereas 2 robotics facility means only 3 gate. He could probably afford 1 or 2 more, especially as he gets that gas up and a full saturation down on the natural expand, but as things are now, Tyreal's a little bit behind on Deviantbum in every category except for upgrades, but PvP upgrades, not the most important thing in the world. Upgrades as far as weapon attack and shields and armor, not so much as extended thermal lances. Extended thermal lances, super important to upgrade because it increases the longevity of your forces. I spy with my little eye something that begins with another robotics facility being built. There we go. Deviantbum building another robotics facility in the top left corner of his base, so both players going 2 off of the robo, which means that Tyreal is going to be very behind with only his 3 gates producing units. Hasn't really fallen behind on money because he's chrono boosting out those probes, getting a good saturation up in his natural. 39 to 49 though, still very behind on the probe count, as well as the mineral income. Hopefully those numbers will equalize shortly, and hopefully that the equalization doesn't come at the cost of the main army, because if Deviantbum decides to move out with a huge force and Tyler has had to slip on the macro of his main army, he might be in a lot of trouble. But he's been producing 2 Colossi at a time for a little while now, so he might be ahead on the Colossi count. It'll be interesting to see if that plays into the final battle. Blink being researched, I thought it was charged for a couple of seconds there. Maybe he canceled it and switched over to it. I'm not going to rewind and find out. But Blink's probably a better choice, as Stalkers are far more useful in the death ball kind of mechanics, allowing them to blink around and target down Colossi one at a time. See a Warp Prism coming out of Deviantbum filled with some Zealots. Charge would be kind of handy if you had charge with this kind of attack. Zealots can come in and do quite a lot of damage, and especially if they target down something like the robotics facility and the Twilight Council or these juicy probes. Hasn't been noticed quite yet by Tyreal, but he will notice whenever those probes start to fall. Remember, 3 of them had already gone down. Oh, well, we are already at 8, 9, 10. Wow, tripling the amount of workers going down. And remember that Tyreal was already at a deficit before this sort of engagement happened. 2 Zealots fall, 2 of them make it out, so that Warp Prism is very much prepared to go in and do that harassment again. The final count was 12 workers down, and all of a sudden 51 to 30. That gap seems to be insurmountable for Tyreal. I think he's feeling that way. I think he's feeling pressured, and I think he's feeling desperate, and I think he's feeling like he needs to go out there and do something. He has a decent sized number 4 Colossi in his main army, but nothing being built right now, and also no proxy pylons. Can't really warp in anything to add this with this unit composition. It's 107 to 149. Some of that's going to be probes, some of that's going to be army. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 Stalkers. So it's 4 to 4. But I think the favor is in Deviantbum's 5. 5 Colossi, but the favor is definitely in Deviantbum's corner. Quite a lot of Zealots, quite a lot of meat shields, quite a lot of damage is going to be absorbed by those inexpensive units. And also Deviantbum has the defender's advantage. Here we go, a huge push right here. I'm going to do away with the UI. All the Zealots have gone down. Some nice microing from Deviantbum, pulling back his units. A quick blink from Deviantbum on the left side for his Stalkers. They're going to get chewed up, but it's going to take the AoE to the left side of the engagement, away from the Colossi. All of a sudden, every single one of the Colossi in full health push forward into the Colossi of Tyreal, and they all go down. That was some excellent mechanics right there, making it so your Stalkers blink forward to draw the aggro from the Colossi, firing down on the Stalkers over here rather than over here where the bulk of Deviantbum's army was. And so there was no splash damage, there was no AoE, it was only on a handful of Stalkers over there, which you can really afford to go down. The Immortals and the Stalkers were right here doing most of the damage. Immortals and Colossi were right here doing most of the damage, and the Stalkers were over here absorbing most of the damage, just like the Zealots did in the first half of the engagement. Phenomenal play. Deviantbum, hats off. Tyreal, no shame in losing to that, because that was a pro play. Yeah, and this was a replay brought to you by Ibigandscary. If you guys have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. If you want to, you can watch the second game, which I'm going to cast immediately after this one, and upload it to the same place you watched this one, so check that one out. That's it for me. I'll see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary.